All right. How are you feeling today? Doing good? All right. Well, I love it. This is our third summit. That doesn't mean we're done with 3 years. That means we're kicking off year 3 of how many years? 7. Thank you. That was good. I'm a teacher, so there you go. So excited to have all of you here and the energy in the room. It's going to be a great day with various breakout sessions. And this year, we decided to have a folder with a map, with a schedule and a map. And that is going to help in terms of confusion. So we are so grateful for all of you being here. We're grateful for Zions for letting us host it here again. And so I'm going to have a few words, and then I'm going to call up Jennifer Smith from Zions Bank to do a formal welcome. But I have a few thoughts before, but I wanted to use the UEN, the Utah Education Network, has been a great partner through the years, and they did this for us early on, and I love that. So I want you to think about why you're here today. And so I thought of one word, and then I searched for some pictures. And so let me show you some pictures and see if you can think about or figure out what word I was thinking about. Here's the first one. These are just pictures that came up, probably Shutterstock or was one of those. Even that one. So do you think of what word I might have said? I'm going to give it to you in the next photo. I really think that you're here. You may have a variety of purposes, right? But I think you're here because you have hope. And I'm already getting teary-eyed. That's not a good thing. Or because you want to have more hope, right? Am I right? This is why we're here, is that we want hope for better things, hope for change, hope to just do the things that make sure that our girls and women and their families are better thriving. And so think about that as you go throughout the day today. And if you're in the room and if you're listening, there's 100 or so online as well, you are what we're calling a Boulder Way Forward advocate. And what is an advocate? Some people get nervous about that word, but I love that word. It's a person who publicly supports or recommends a particular cause or policy. So I'm going to call you advocates. That's what we're calling you. And the next slide. If you are an advocate, that makes you a leader. Now, I still have every week women saying to me, well, I'm just helping, but I'm not a leader. And you know what I say to them? That's crap. You are a leader. Because leadership is defined in many ways. I'm a leadership professor. I'm just going to give you one slide. But the best definitions of leadership include 4 things. It's a process of influencing a group towards a goal. So when I had 4 teenagers at home and tried to get them to the dinner table, is that a process? Is that influencing? Is that a group? Is that a goal? That makes me a leader just because I do that. So if you are trying to influence your home, in your community, in your church group, in your women's organization, I'm looking at various people that represent all of those, or even influencing your neighbors on one side or another. That means you're a leader. So I want you to look at me and just say, I am a leader. Go.
I am a leader.
One more time, louder.
I am a leader.
Okay, I love it. So I just want us all to, and men too, just put that in our identity, right? So also, I want to thank our sponsors, Clyde Companies, of course, Zions Bank, Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, AARP, and of course, the Utah Women in Leadership Project at Utah State University. And we really are hosted and connect with both the John M. Huntsman School of Business and USU Extension. So I'm just going to go super quick, but just want you to note our champions. I won't read all their last names, but Scott, Lieutenant Governor Henderson, Abby, Ryan, Nubia, Kristen, Becky, Sui Lang, Mary, some of them are here, Tessa, Tom, Charlene, Byron, Senator Milner, Rena, Clint, Nikki, Corianne, Jennifer, who will talk to you in just a second, Lisa, James, Paula, Ruma, and Jared. So would just want to give a shout out to those champions and their important role in this movement. Thank you. And then I do want to, and today, throughout the day, there will be, I believe, about 18 or 19 state legislators who will be in the mix and being here. I know there are at least a few here already. If you're a state legislator, could you stand so we can, where are you? Come on. Okay, there are a few. Thanks. And then if you are an elected official in counties or municipalities, can you stand as well? Thank you. And there will be more throughout the day as well. Just want to thank all of these folks for their service and their support of the Boulder Way Forward, just being here. And then I won't have time today to go through all of the, you'll see the rotating slides were at the beginning. There'll be some at lunch, so you'll be able to see leaders in the movement. But also wanted to thank my full-time and part-time staff for all the work that they're doing. Pay attention during the lunch, and you'll see some of the committees. I think they were on this morning as well, plus all the partners and investors. And then later on, we'll talk and thank the impact teams will have some sessions in here, and county leaders will have sessions as well. So just a special thanks. I won't give all of those notifications in person verbally, but just keep your eye on those rotating slides. And then I would love to have, people have come from all over the state, and I want to see who has come from the furthest corners. So are there anybody from San Juan? I'm thinking way down, and Washington County, Kane County. Okay, there's some hands raised. Okay, I don't know if there's anybody from Rich on the other hand. I think there's a car of 4 people from Duchesne and Uinta, right? Yeah, they're sitting together back there. Thank you. Thank you so much. And then just another slide or two before I have Jennifer give our formal welcome. We have had a lot of questions about, because we have different colors for Boulder Way Forward than UWLP, but just want to be clear here that we're called, the Utah Women in Leadership Project, we're called the backbone organization for the movement, and our mission has always been to strengthen the impact of Utah girls and women. And we do that through research and creating research-based resources, and then convening trainings and events, and then doing so many things through partners. We always have and try to elevate partners. And then just to be clear, the UWLP is housed with me as part of my faculty research role and my faculty societal impact work in the John M. Huntsman School of Business and Extension within Utah State University. And that is the place that's the primary base of support and coordination. Because we have different colors and everything, there's been some confusion. I just wanted to highlight that, to make sure you know that my staff and I are really doing a lot of work to support so many of you. And by the way, before I go on, we figure that there's about 6,000 people engaged now in Boulder Way Forward. And about, and about 270 leaders, co-leaders, or leader. I mean, that's a lot of leaders, and those are you in the room and others as well. And then we have 29. How many counties are in Utah? 29 county coalitions. And so thank you to everybody. So I would love to have Jennifer come up and give a formal welcome. I think we might have given your mic away.
Go to the podium.
Okay. Is that on? Yeah.
Good morning. On behalf of Zions Bank, welcome to the Boulder Ways Forward Annual Summit. It's so good to see many friends and many friends to be. There are hundreds. It's just what a sight to see all of hundreds and hundreds of women and men here to make a difference in the lives of women and girls in our state. At the Zions Technology Center, this is a place where innovation thrives. Today, it's a place where wisdom also thrives. Several months ago, a dear friend gave me this pin, and this pin says, "You are safe to be you with me." Several of my friends and colleagues are getting ready to celebrate the Pride Festival this weekend, and this is on my mind. What a fabulous invitation to be you, to be me. This center is not just a building, it is a sanctuary for bold ideas, unfiltered stories, and transformative possibilities. A place where every woman, regardless of her background, her identity, or her experience, can show up fully and safely. Throughout history, progress has often begun in spaces where women could speak freely, dream aloud, and organize. From the parlors where suffragettes strategized the right to vote, to the churches and college basements where civil rights and feminist leaders planned their next march, to the kitchen tables where mothers shaped their own definition of leadership, even if that was trying to figure out how to get all of your kids to sit at the table and eat, as Susan pointed out. These were safe spaces, carved out of necessity so women could be heard. Well, today our voices are heard. And we want more change so every woman and child can thrive. In many ways, this gathering is doing that as part of that lineage. The Boulder Way Forward is not just a name, it's a call to reimagine policies, workplaces, and communities where every single woman thrives, not just in pockets, but across the entire fabric of our society. We have so much to be grateful for in this great state of Utah. And the nice thing is we have a foundation for future success. At Zions, we believe innovation flourishes when everyone belongs and offers their unique strengths. And belonging requires more than an invitation, but it requires an intention. That's why we affirm today as a welcome, a safe place of safety and mutual respect and dignity for every one of you. So bring today your full voice, take risks, share what you've been holding in, ask those hard questions, extend generosity, get to know someone who will do this work with you. We are not alone. We are surrounded by leaders and change makers, and we are ready to rise together. Welcome to the summit.
you. Thanks so much. All right. Well, I'm going to now give you a really fast update of what has happened during year 2. I won't start all the way to year 1, but year 2, and then some of the goals for year 3. And then you're going to have the opportunity, it's going to be a lightning round, to hear, and can I have my slides back up? Well, I might have to log back in, unfortunately. And I don't have my glasses, so we'll see. Yes, okay, without glasses, a really long password. So that's some good news. So want to be celebrating, like I said, year 2, and then looking ahead. And then what I was mentioning is you'll have an opportunity to hear just a couple minutes from each of the 18 spokes about what they're doing, just very quick, a couple minutes each. And then we'll come back and have a few things at the end of this session. And then I'll walk ahead. So are you good? Are we good? Moving it forward? Okay. So I wanted to start, and this is on your handout as well. I usually do this at the end, and most of you have heard this, but I wanted to start today with this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Every society has its protectors of the status quo and its fraternities of the indifferent who are notorious for sleeping through revolutions. Today, our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change. So I use this all the time. So some of you have heard this over and over again, but it's one of my favorite, obviously. And I think in some of the issues that we've been dealing with, particularly our violence rates that are unacceptable. High violence rates in terms of sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, those kinds of things. We buried our heads in the sand, right? We've been sleeping on some of these issues, and it's like we need to wake up, and you have woken up, right? In terms of not sleeping, but we have to make sure everyone else is aware of these things. So keep that in mind as you go throughout the day. So for those of you that have been here for the last couple of years, you've seen that bridge. And for those of you that are new, we've used that bridge as we're doing something here in the state of Utah that's never been done in another state. We're trying to shift not just one thing, but how many spokes do we have? 8. Oh, you guys are good students here. We're going for it. Things are happening. We're going for it. But for the first year especially, and into the second year, it has felt like we've just done one step, one step forward to try and get across this raging river. And I felt like at least part of year 2, we are still on this bridge, right? But feeling a little more steady. What I'm loving about today and moving forward is that we can see further than we did before. We can see how to make this change. We're seeing, you spoke leaders and people engaged from the start. You're seeing a little bit more, right? I'm seeing some of you nod in terms of that. And you can imagine maybe we're on land again. I don't know how you want to do the metaphors. I love metaphors, so I have a number of those. And so this, I'll bring this slide back, but there may be different paths. But think about that. I studied out. I really, really feel like we've set the foundation and we're just now in a place of launching in a really big way, moving forward. I love this visual too. It's taken some work to get up. There's higher mountains, there's lots of stuff, there's rocks. But what are there on this slide that I love? My favorite flower is, what do you think? Yellow flowers color. And so anytime I have a yellow flower, that means there's hope. There's hope and there's things happening and we can be really excited about moving forward. I also have used the visual of, now this is not outdoors, this is indoors, a bowling alley. Have you heard me say that? And that is our reminder of ourselves that we're not telling 270 leaders across the movement exactly what to do. But in order to have us go in the same direction, we're like bumpers in a bowling alley. So you can keep moving even if the ball is really, you've seen a 2 or 3-year-old like roll it so slow. Sometimes you do have to go out and kick it, right? A few times, not that many. But it often keeps going, and that's what we're trying to do is believe in people, move it forward, but keep us aligned in this systems thinking. Also, some people call us an initiative, Boulder Way Forward, some a movement. I switch words depending on the audience. Which word am I going to use today? Movement, yes I am. And a force for change. So I searched some pictures. But just a reminder, in addition to these things, that change, powerful, powerful change, also takes consistency, courage, and sometimes quietness, perseverance, relentlessness, strategic choices, and not or. So we have this powerful, but there's also this, you just keep moving. Are you with me? I mean, does this make sense? Yeah. So just a few reminders. National, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You've seen the video or heard me speak, or heard so many speak around the state. National and statewide studies continue to show that women and girls in Utah are not thriving in critical areas. There's some areas we're doing better than others. And if we're serious, we need to create change in 7 years. And how many years is that now? Because we're 2 years in? 5 more, okay? We're by 2030. And this book really was the one that gave me my inspiration on moving this forward. But this whole movement is, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So we've been doing stuff, lots of parts and pieces for years and years, but we need still more of those parts and pieces. But this Boulder Way Forward is to bring it together to try to get us to shift more boldly and better together. And you know this model, I won't go through it. 5 categories, right? How many spokes? 18. Now this is, not everybody knows this next one, but you'll get to know it at lunch. How many impact teams? There's 12. 12 impact teams. How many county coalitions? Okay, you got it. And many more things are around that. And you're going to hear again from all 18, just very briefly, so you can get that feel again of what's happened. And then year 2 highlights. So let me go pretty quick. I'm starting with this one for a specific reason. One of the things in the last year is that we've hosted over 30 sessions for leaders across the movement to get into deeper change. And we've been using the crucial influence model. So all the spoke leaders and coordinators, sub-spoke leaders, working groups, impact team leaders, and some of the counties, we haven't gotten to all of them, have looked at that and have participated in this training. And this was a reminder for me, no spaghetti. You're like, what is she talking about? So what I do is talk about, you know, when we do societal change, we kind of like sometimes throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. We don't have time for that. It's not about doing more stuff. It's about doing the right stuff and being strategic. So that's what we're doing. And then the reason I had this slide first is that we have been working so hard on figuring out, the research tells us that if you don't know where you're at and don't know where you're going in terms of numbers and the results, that you're not going to get to where you want to go. So we have really been working with, and it's taken, some spokes were done earlier than others, but as of today, we have all spokes with bold goals, which is huge. And then this is the piece that's really taken, taken a while. But Bree, where is Bree? She's standing over there. Bree is over here. She has worked her magic with so many of the spoke coordinators and leaders to get the data dashboards. So as of today, and it took a little longer than we were thinking, but figuring out goals and what we're going to change and then how to measure it, Anybody understand that that's like a big deal? Okay, that's a big deal. So you could clap. I think not for me though. All right. So Bree and others have just been so critical in this effort. So we have data dashboards that are tracking the progress towards 2030. And we're going to start seeing real changes, I think, in the next year. We've been setting the foundation. And so our fall study, we've done it twice. We're tracking the perceptions, and you can search, anybody can search by county and all kinds of things there. And then we're tracking those over time. We're tracking specific goals, and you'll hear more about those in the breakout sessions. And so all of those are a big deal that we've gotten done this year, and we're feeling so good to have this secured as our foundation. The models and the research continues to say, again, if you don't know the results, if you don't know where you're headed and what numbers you want to get to and all of that, that we're just going to be doing nice things, and we do want to do nice things, but we also need, I'm trying to not do but, and we also need, that's a hard habit, to actually change. We need to have our pay gap decrease. We need to have violence decrease. We're not just doing little things. We need to protect our families, our kids, the women in our lives. Too much violence. We've got to do that. We need to increase women's entrepreneurship and all kinds of things here. And so we're tracking the progress. Also, want to acknowledge, and you'll hear about this, the awesome work of our spoke leaders and our spoke coordinators and everybody working in each of the spokes. So that's been a real win this year. There's been a lot in this year, too, of work in the impact teams as well, and this is a list of those. And you'll be able to, during lunch, sit in circles and learn more about the impact teams. So we've also, I wanted to pause here because some people are not clear about the impact teams. So I just wanted to, so you know the spokes are the main areas with goals. Now the impact teams are on the rims, and that means the impact team, like race and ethnicity is one, veterans is another, women veterans, but you can do those, you want to make sure that you pay attention to 50 plus thriving is another one, to all of those in the work we're doing in all 18 spokes. Does that make sense? So there's a connection with all of those. And those impact teams are creating resources and advise the leadership of Bold Your Way Forward, but also the general population, increasing awareness and representation in their own communities, and then connecting people to resources and research as well. And then our counties, coalitions, work across all of those 29 counties and give a kudos to Deborah over there. Is Amy over there too? I don't know where Amy is, but she's in the back. Okay, those two. Amy's got 9 counties. Deborah's got 20, and they're awesome, and they would be the first to say that they're so grateful for all of the co-leads in every county that have been stepping up to do the work. I'm seeing Karen right on the front row for Utah County, and Cynthia, and I could start noticing everybody who is doing the work, but the county coalitions want to thank them for their progress, and those that were engaged early have handled a lot of ambiguity at trying to figure out, what do we do? We're in a good place now. Things are clearer moving forward. And then just a little note about, when you look at the goals, it's not just the spoke leaders and at the spoke level. It really is the county coalitions and impact teams and companies and cities and towns and campus communities and women's groups and on, right? That's what it is. So lots of work moving forward, setting the foundation. And we do have committees and starting to have some communities as well that I want to highlight. Those are going to be on slides at lunch. And so what are our wins? Well, this is a big one. We started out in silos. I don't love these pictures, but that's the best I could do. The spokes were separated from the impact teams, county coalitions. It wouldn't have worked another way. But this past year, that was our biggest thing of this last year, is to start merging all of them so they would connect. Does that make sense? That's a big win. Not that it's perfect, but it's happening. But we had to have those in silos. So again, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And then also some wins for year two. We worked with UEN on videos, but also created 2-pagers for every single spoke. And so even if you have a neighbor that's passionate about one topic, make sure they know the 2-pager, because they can do it. And if they just speak to their other neighbor about it, like, did you know what's happening in entrepreneurship? Do you know that the Women's Business Center of Utah has resources? Do you know our rates of rape and sexual violence? Do you know this is a problem? Just that makes you an advocate. Any of that. We just share those kinds of knowledge with other people. So we have these resources. We've also started growing our partners. We have about 325 partners, and my goal, can I just say it out loud? Our goal, my goal, hopefully it's our goal, is to be next year at about 1,000 or more. I mean, the whole Boulder Way Forward is systems thinking, that you bring everybody together who's doing work in every element, right? So we can ship together. That should be pretty easy if we really dig in and pull in those partners. So we have key partners and change partners. Some people are both. Our key partners are people that are engaged in some way with that. Change partners, you can be a change partner just by being in your company, doing good things for your employees, helping your employees know that there's issues they can read about, anything like that. So, and we also have our first, and we have 2 other cities coming on this month. We haven't pushed it much, but we have Boulder Way Forward cities, towns, and counties coming on board. And so that's going to be moving forward. But thank you to Lisa Watts-Baskin, who took the lead for getting that in her city. And then we just launched a couple of months ago our movement-wide awareness campaign. And that just means that almost every spoke has months, or secondary or primary, that in terms of domestic violence prevention month or awareness month, when we hit October, that it's not just the coalition or the shelters or the organizations that are trying to raise awareness. It is all of us, from Boulder Way Forward through all the counties. So there's more voices at it. We can't just have the people that work in the programs be the voices. It has to be all of us. And so look at that. That was a big win. And then we started more in year 2, amplifying partner efforts and resources, and then some new interactive courses. Male allyship, they're starting to get out there. They're interactive. You do them in groups of like 3 to 6. So 1 for men, there's 1 for women. And we continue to support through UWP with research reports. And Colleen, raise your hand. Colleen and I work with research on the team, and many of you have been involved as well. And podcasts, social media, impact teams just finished What Can I Do's 2-pagers as well. So these are wins, and then fundraising efforts are starting to move as well to provide support for leaders throughout the movement so that they can have coordinators and so forth. And so overarching, this is a slide I put up last year. Year 1 was to build the basic structure, secure information. 2, I had 3 things listed in my slide for last year, and I think we got to those, connect and expand. So connect and align the Boulder Way Forward components. That's the merge that I was just talking about. That was big in year 2. And then start raising awarenesses of the issues and the resources. And that's starting to move forward. I feel like pretty good about that. And then activate the counties, companies, families, individuals. We started that, but year 3 is going to be huge in terms of that. So that's what we put for year 1 and year 2. And so year 3, I haven't massaged these, so there's 12, but the last two are overarching. But just to give you an idea, 1, continue strengthening the connecting parts of the movement. Make sense? Yeah. Enhance partnership. This makes sense, right? We just talked about recruitment and engagement. Expand and fortify the movement-wide awareness campaign. I just need to check my time. I need to finish up. And then raise the collective awareness of Utah around each area of focus, focus. So this is making sense to you, right? That's where we're going in year 3. Continue conducting and publishing the research that we're doing. Create a movement-wide dashboard. We haven't done that. The whole movement, a dashboard to show how things are all shifting. Very specific. Bree and I are going to be on that. Strategize and enhance marketing and communication efforts, and enhance the usage of the curriculum and courses, and build systems and processes that better support informed, research-based, thoughtful public policy, and then create various communities for Boulder Way Forward leaders, members, and advocates to help more Utahns engage. And then overarching the last 2, really construct funding opportunities to better support the movement of volunteer leaders and of members across the movement. And this is really important, to ensure, and this is super important today, that all of the work elevates the principles of civility, dignity, kindness, connection, and respect. Sometimes when you hear the word movement, you think of, protests and different things, and there's spaces for various things. But we want to continue to be in the space of kindness and respect and dignity. We have to do it that way to be able to lift girls and women and to lift families, and that includes boys and men. We cannot do this work without men. So thank you to you men who have shown up today. That is very meaningful to me. All right, you're done with me. I'll be up at the end, but that's a little bit of celebrating the past, looking ahead a bit, and now we're going to do a lightning round. And so Deborah and Bree, if you can step forward with your purses and everything, and be ready for this. And I'm going to come down, but we're going to start with the safety and security spoke, and hopefully this will go as we planned. I don't know where Bree is, but so first group, I just need my glasses. That's what I need. Now I can see. Okay. Okay, so the first group, if you can come up, that would be awesome. Poverty and homelessness, yes.
All right, thank you. Good morning. I'm Karen McCandless, who thought I was going to have a podium, but I do not have a podium, so I'm going to set this right here. I'm the CEO of Community Action Services and Food Bank, and glad to be here today. And thank you. Quickly tell you about what we're doing with the poverty and homelessness spoke.
Hold on just a second. So all of the spoke leaders that are here from each spoke should come up together. So I know there's at least one other. So whoever is here for your spoke in poverty and homelessness, the other leaders, there you go.
There we are.
Okay, we'll get a flow going here.
We'll get, yeah, thank you. And these are our brand new, my co-spoke leaders, Lee Palmer and Palak Gupta, and thrilled to be working with them. So the need that we have is there are about 163,000 women in our state who are in poverty. And about 25% of the single women with children are in poverty. And then of single women with children under the age of 5, that number goes up to about 36% of women in poverty. So our vision and purpose in our spoke, we're kind of pivoting, and I wanted to just share very quickly. We found that we have our big audacious goals, and a lot of them involve some pretty heavy lifting in the legislative world. Reducing the number of women in poverty, increasing the amount of affordable housing, reducing the number of those women and children experiencing homelessness. We found that there's a lot of interconnectivity between our spoke and everybody else's spokes. So what we did, and we're currently in discussion, is how can we support your spokes? Because the issues that we're facing, and how can we work more closely with your spokes? I do want to do a couple of shout outs legislatively. We are seeing some progress on the affordable housing front as far as at the state level. Also, at the state level, the Department of Workforce Services has just put out a request for a proposal for organizations who would be interested in being navigators, to help benefits navigators, to help families navigate through the cliff effect. And I don't know, how many of you are familiar with what the cliff effect is? Okay, cliff effect is when somebody is working and progressing to make a living wage, but they hit a point where they will lose more benefits than the money they will earn. Our system's broken. There's no sliding scale. So right now the state is working to have on a baby step toward having that happen as far as working on that issue. So we're excited about that. One way to get involved is two things. That waterfall that we saw in that one picture, I know another friend who's over here and we've been to that waterfall. And I'm thankfully not near an explosion or a volcano, but, or I haven't punched someone since I was a little kid. It was my brother. And so I know we got just a second here. Get immersed. You walk up to that waterfall, you get soaked. That's why I saw that picture. I thought, get immersed in what you're doing. Second, as you're working in your different spokes, see how we can be part of what you're doing. See how poverty and homelessness interweave between there, and we're here to support you, and we're going to continue to work on those legislative items. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. So we are here from the Sexual Harassment and Gender-Based Discrimination Spoke. And we are here to break down the misconception that this does not exist in the state of Utah. It does exist, it's a problem. And here is some of the research. So in 2024, the Boulder Way Forward survey, 83.5% of Utahns agree that sexual harassment is a problem in Utah. But 60% of Utahns don't believe that their organization will deal with this appropriately. This is a problem. So there's a lack of trust in organizations. And the problem is as well that it doesn't just go beyond our culture and organizations. It goes to the individuals who experience anxiety, depression, loss of sleep, physical issues like weight loss, gain, emotional challenges. And it's estimated that the economic impact is enormous, costing the US $2.6 billion in lost productivity. We are here for change. The sexual harassment and gender-based discrimination vision is to significantly decrease in Utah, so Utah girls and women can participate in society's equal contributors. Our path forward is to raise awareness and help Utahns understand this is a big problem in Utah. We need to help, we need everyone, we need all of you and more to help change things in Utah. This spoke will provide best practices and resources for individuals. We believe we need to address the problem early, before it becomes a mountain, so when it's sort of in its infancy. In addition, we all must be involved in influencing policy change. So what can you do? We talk about cover to care. Say something if you see this happening. Speak up, lean in, educate yourself on what to do. Find out what policies and practices can be put in place so that your business, your organization can create a culture where we can all thrive when we participate in a society as equal contributors. You can join us today in this work by coming to our Spoke breakout session, learn how you can affect real change, lean in, and how you can respond to harassment and discrimination. Join us to help all of you. Thank you very much.
Well, they can't see us in the back, Susan. Okay. All right. We're the Child Sexual Abuse Spoke, and like you, we wish we weren't one. We wish that child sexual abuse were not a problem in the state of Utah, and we'd prefer not to be a spoke at all, or a problem. But it is a problem, and we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and start to talk about it in our state. 1 in 7 children will be sexually abused before the age of 18. So it is a problem in the state. I want you to think about this. I want you to raise your hand if you or someone you know has been affected by child sexual abuse. Okay, I think we have more than 1 in 7 sitting in here. So I think that we all agree. It's time for us to face this and work together. Personally, just a few months ago, I received a text from my brother, and it said, "Did you know that on average, people disclose child sexual abuse at the age of 52? And I said, "Yep." I didn't know that it was the beginning of his disclosing his child sexual abuse to me, and he's 52, right? So now I know. So I have 2 siblings, at least, who have talked to me, but not all of them are 52 yet, so maybe we'll be getting some more of those. I have 3 children who have been affected by child sexual abuse. This is something that is not spoken about, and it's okay. If you've been a victim of child sexual abuse and you make that choice, that's okay. I'm not pushing people to talk about it when you're feeling uncomfortable or when it will be too vulnerable. But can we talk about that? It's a problem. One of our goals is just to convince people it even exists in the state of Utah. So please come and join us and get comfortable being uncomfortable with us in room 1241.
Hello, hello. Oh, thank you. Sorry. My name's Brooke Muir. I'm here with Fight Against Domestic Violence and our wonderful co-leaders from the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition, the incomparable Leah Moses and Tess Miller. Big hands for both of them. Similar to the previous spoke, domestic violence happens all too often in our communities. We think about 1 in 3 women here in Utah will experience it in their lifetime. I personally think the stats are much higher than that. As we all love Utah, and it's a beautiful state, we take pride in our commitment to family, community, and service. But when your family and home situation doesn't fit the perfect mold, when you're experiencing violence behind closed doors, it is lonely and isolating, and too many Utahns are surviving in violence. Tragic instances of domestic violence often lead the news headlines, but there are so many more who are experiencing it in silence. It is not a private issue, it is a public crisis. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It happens in all ages, races, sex, religion, education, in all of our communities. It's happening in my neighborhood. It's happening in your neighborhood. And our children are carrying this with them as they go to school and live their lives. We also, in our spoke, our goal is simple but profound: raise awareness and reduce domestic violence in our communities. But awareness isn't just enough. We are working to reduce the number of unmet requests for help due to capacity gaps. We need more resources, more funding, and more community involvement to address this crisis effectively, which is my invitation to all of you. Even if you don't come to our breakout session, we hope that you will reach out and connect with us. And most importantly, we must center survivors not just as data points, but as people with voices that need to be heard. Through the Dear Utah initiative, which was launched in October, we are collecting and sharing real stories to build empathy and spark change. So this is my shout out. If you know someone who's been affected by domestic violence, if you have been affected by domestic violence, whether it's if you are a family member, a friend, you're in the medical field, therapist, we need your stories. The more that people hear about it, the more we can actually acknowledge the problem. Finally, we're not doing this alone. Our work is connected to the goals of our other vital spokes: child sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and gender-based discrimination. And I'm going to throw in homelessness in there too. 80% of women who are experiencing homelessness with children have been victims of domestic violence. So thank you for being here. Together we are building a safer, more informed, and more responsive Utah. So thank you, thank you.
Can you hear me? Hello. I'm going to speak on behalf of Liliana because she has lost her voice, so I'm going to stick to the script. 1 in 3 Utah women experience sexual assault, and 1 in 6 have been or will be raped. We must work together to reduce these rates. The Sexual Assault Spoke's vision is to significantly decrease the prevalence of sexual assault in Utah and substantially increase the resources and support for survivors. To do this, we must help Utahns understand that this is a big problem in Utah and in their own communities, and that they can help change things in Utah. In addition, we all must be involved in influencing the state to increase ongoing state funding to help prevent rape and assault, in addition to increasing the quality and quantity of services and programs around the state. What is one way to get involved? We just relaunched the Start by Believing campaign in Utah. Each of you can help by taking the Start by Believing pledge today and learn the basic steps to help you start by believing. You can learn more online and from any of us today. When we learn and practice the steps of how to believe girls and women when they tell us uncomfortable things, they will be able to start to heal and then be able to step forward to better thrive. The default in Utah is not to believe, so let's flip that around. Women and girls can better thrive in Utah when they can live lives free from sexual violence. We have 5 years in the Boulder Way Forward to help dramatically shift Utah, so join us in this work. Thank you.
This has been a bit heavy. And were you here, anybody here 2 years ago? I've just made a split decision. Grab your stuff, and we're going to do the wave a few times today. Do you remember when we did that? No? Okay, we're going to start at we're going to take a breath, and we're going to start at the beginning. Come on, grab your stuff. Be ready, okay? Okay, go. Come on, yes! Wow, okay, now we're ready to move. Okay, nicely done.
Good morning. I have Alyssa and Jeff with me. We're so grateful to be with you, representing the Home and Family Spoke. Utah is widely recognized as a family-focused state, but we ask, do our home environments help women and girls truly thrive? Home might be a 2-parent household, a single parent, multi-generational and step families, a partnership, or an individual. And every home looks different, and every person in the home deserves to thrive. Yet across Utah homes, we see patterns that need our attention. As was mentioned, first, Utah girls rank the 7th highest for adverse childhood experiences. When caregiving and domestic labor are considered, women are working more hours a day than men, which impacts their physical and emotional health. From our recent survey, 1 out of 5 Utah women don't feel they have an equal voice in decision-making. Utahns marry younger than in other states and often lack the skills to manage a household and resolve conflicts in healthy ways. We see home and family at the core of a bolder way forward. If this movement is an ecosystem, home is the soil, nourishing or depleting everything that grows from it. We want Utah homes to have nourishing soil. Our Spoke is pursuing healthy relationship education, equitable sharing of domestic labor and caregiving, and women's sexual wellness. We are committed to elevate women's agency, to value their work, whether paid or unpaid, and to disrupt the persistent narratives in Utah. To accomplish our 2030 goals, we're looking for 19 more county representatives, several more working group members, and additional engaged partners. We invite you to join us in room 1242 or reach out to us by email. Let's build environments where everyone can be heard, seen, and thrive. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Susan got a little bit ahead of us, but we're here to talk about health. So I want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And together with my co-leads, we work with 8 sub-spokes that focus on the health of women and girls across the lifespan. Today, we want to share with you a snapshot of the health of our friends, our sisters, our daughters, our mothers, our grandmothers, our girlfriends, and all the women in our Utah community that reflects the work we are doing with Boulder Way Forward. When asked about their mental health over the past month, 44% of women ages 18 to 34 report 7 or more days of poor mental health. Anorexia nervosa is second only to opioid use disorder as a cause of psychiatric death. Parents report that 93% of youth have an adult they can rely on for guidance or advice. However, only 57% of youth say the same thing. According to a national survey of OBGYN, family medicine, and internal medicine residents, only 7% report feeling adequately prepared to manage women experiencing menopause. All baby boomers are age 60 or older. That means even more Utahns are now care receivers or caregivers. 64% of eligible women in Utah have completed a mammogram. The state goal is 81%. And in places in our rural communities like Utah's Tri-County region, only 53% have received their mammograms. Utah's colorectal cancer screening rate dropped from 74% to 59% in just 2 years recently, making it clear that we need better access and stronger engagement to turn things around. And finally, Utah ranks 49th in the nation when it comes to Medicaid coverage for pregnant women. So I want you to check in with your body. What are you feeling right now? And how are you going to use that feeling to help move this work forward? Because we have work to do. And you can help us get started today, right now, by taking out your phone and either texting one of those women we mentioned that you love and encouraging them to schedule a preventative care visit. This can be an eye appointment, dermatology, OBGYN, anything, or schedule one for yourself. So thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. I am Brooke Scheffler. I work in the governor's office, director of boards and commissions, and I have Karina Brown here with me. Becky is speaking at a National Women's Leadership Conference, so she's not here with us today, but we miss her. I'd like to start off with a little bit of a background of, can you guys hear me okay? Of a woman who I think has inspired and influenced many of us in this room today. She has said, "I never imagined I'd be where I am today. I just wanted to make a difference in my community. I was a stay-at-home mom for 13 years, wiping bottoms and boogers. I was not a politician. But I started small and began volunteering from my laundry room, running a campaign. Our Lieutenant Governor took a small step to become civically engaged, then served in our Utah Senate, and ultimately became Utah's second female lieutenant governor. While serving, she went back to school and got her bachelor's degree in history. Our lieutenant governor's story is real and is so inspiring. It reminds us that leadership doesn't require permission. It begins with a step, that leadership starts wherever you are with whatever you have. Currently, as in the standard of this morning, women who make up half of our population are vastly unrepresented in civic and political leadership. So that's not just a gap, but a call to action. Our political and civic representation spoke is about answering that call. We're focused on elevating more women into elected office, onto boards and commissions, and into decision-making spaces across Utah. Because this isn't just about pulling another chair up to the table, but about rebuilding the table so everyone has a voice. We're all here because we have thought someone should do something, and you are that someone. We want to show you how and what steps are needed to become more civically engaged. Whether it's running for office, advocating for a cause, or serving in your community, there is a place for you to lead. So come join our spoke and be part of building a future where Utah's leadership reflects all of us. We are in room 1141, and we might have treats.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anne Marie Wallace, and I'm with the Women's Business Center of Utah, and I'm joined by my co-spoke leader, Seth Jensen from the UVU Entrepreneurship Institute, and our third co-spoke leader is Tara Spalding, who could not join us today. While Utah has one of the highest rates of women's entrepreneurship compared to other women in other states, there's a significant gap in business scale compared to our male counterparts, our brothers, our husbands, our grandfathers even. Women-owned businesses are far more likely to remain small, to be underfunded and under-resourced, in contrast to male-owned businesses, which grow larger, generate more revenue, and attract more capital. This disparity limits the economic potential of women and holds back Utah's broader economic growth. The Entrepreneurship Spoke of Boulder Way Forward is working to close the gap for building a more supportive, connected, and capital-ready ecosystem for women. Our vision is to accelerate the growth and strength of women-owned businesses so they can generate more profit, employ more Utahns, and do more good in Utah and the entire world. We're organizing 5 dynamic working groups to launch soon to take action. The first is communication and public outreach. A second, our Utah Women's Entrepreneur Network, helping them connect better to each other in their neighborhoods and in their communities, as well as Utah Capital Connect, making sure they have access to capital, as well as the university and community entrepreneurship support, connecting our entrepreneurship ecosystem to our educational institutions. And also, finally and importantly, a women's entrepreneurship proclamation. Each group will contribute to a powerful public proclamation launching in November during Women's Entrepreneurship Month, a bold rally cry to individuals, organizations, and institutions across Utah to champion, invest, and buy women-owned businesses. The way to get involved is to join a working group. We're in room 1243 today. We'd love you to join us. This proclamation will be the catalyst for long-term, long change, mobilizing Utah to support women entrepreneurs in building bigger, stronger, and more impactful businesses. Together, we can ensure women-owned businesses thrive and lead in every corner of our state. Thank you.
Good morning. We're announcing Melanie Jones as one of our Spoke co-leaders this morning, so here she is, and her photo's already up there. Sheena and I are thrilled to welcome her to the work. The Utah Women in Leadership Project research found that 47% of Utahns disagreed or were unsure whether their employers offered family-friendly policies that met their needs. Fewer Utah women, compared to men, agree that their organization provides them with opportunities for advancement. In 2023, 64% of Utah women participated in the workforce, which is 3% higher than the last research in 2018. So with inflation and Utah's expensive housing market, it's no surprise that women and men are working. For some families, adults work multiple jobs just to make ends meet. So how do we, as Utahns and as a business community, foster a sense of belonging and opportunity at work? The organizational strategies and workplace culture spoke engage employers in Utah to help elevate women's presence and success in organizations through strategic actions and inclusive policies, fostering gender equality and diverse leadership, and cultivating family-friendly and thriving workplaces. As host of the Business Elevated podcast for my work in the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, I was pleased to hear that when I spoke with Ali Isom at Clyde Companies, that their generous parental leave policy treats men and women equally. Natalie Caddis at Caddis Enterprises recently highlighted their 4-day work week and flexible hours, which helps their manufacturing workforce with young school-aged children. We have over 220 episodes, and dozens of them talk about ways Utah businesses support family-friendly and flexible work. Our spokes request: talk to your organization's leaders, particularly in human resources and in the C-suite, and see how one policy update this year can make your workplace more family-friendly and accommodating. After all, they are your greatest asset, your workforce. Part of a welcoming and inclusive culture is adjusting to your team's needs and supporting them through all aspects and phases of their lives. Together, we can make Utah organizations stand out as national and global examples of workforce empowerment. Thank you.
Childcare is a multifaceted challenge. It is not only a personal, family, and parenting issue, but it is also a community-wide issue. It not only lays the foundation for a healthy workforce, allowing parents to participate in the workforce, it also lays the foundation for the healthy growth, development, and education of young children. So while we might use the words childcare and daycare in our common parlance, it's more than care that's going on, because these little children in early childhood, ages 0 to 5, their brains are just soaking it all up wherever they are. So building on that idea, if you consider the most vulnerable children in our community, children with multiple risk factors in their life, like homelessness or poverty or trauma, and you look at a policy way to help them, several longitudinal studies have shown that the most efficient use of a public dollar, is actually in early childhood. So, for example, if you invest $1 in early childhood, it will actually prevent $5 to $10 in future public interventions later in their life. And this makes sense because when you think about it, not only are you building early literacy and early numeracy in this time period, you're also building skills like self-regulation, social skills, executive functioning, and impulse control, which affect all of us in our community. So in our spoke, we are really focused on raising awareness about the need for and importance of high quality early childhood education and care in our state. And we are meeting under the stairs if you'd like to join us, just like Harry Potter. Thank you.
We're going to do another wave to give you a break, but we're going to start from the back. So this might be complex, but we can do it. People on the stairs, I want to see you waving too. Okay, from the back, let's do it. Go. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Woo! Oh, this is going, come on, stairs. Oh, yeah. All right, very good.
I personally think there could have been a little bit more energy, but it was good. Good morning, everyone. Today, we are here representing not just leaders in the gender pay gap spoke, but mothers, fathers, women, men, colleagues, citizens who believe that Utah deserves better. In the U.S., women earn just 82 cents for every dollar a man earns, and in Utah, the number drops to 73 cents. For women of color, the gap is even wider. And depending on the measure, Utah ranks near the bottom, 45th to 50th. This isn't just a statistic. This is our sisters, our daughters, our coworkers. It's us. The gender pay gap affects lifetime earnings, retirement, healthcare access, generational wealth. But here's the good news. We are not powerless. The gender pay gap, it's complex. We have to admit it, it's complex. But our Spoke is bringing together organizations, business leaders, educators, policymakers, and community makers that are creating lasting change. We're working on cultural shifts, educational resources, male allyship, data research. This year so far, we hosted a successful Equal Pay Day event. That video just got uploaded to the website, so if you weren't able to attend, you can go watch that. We've created a partnership with U of U to get better data research that we can connect directly to Utah. And we've just finished creating 4 training modules geared toward individuals to understand the biases that we have, to understand the Utah pay gap, to really dig into what makes up our pay, what are all of those factors, and to also know how to negotiate salary. This geared to educate. We have a goal of educating 300 women this year. Help us out in that. Closing this gap doesn't just help women. It strengthens our families, our community, and our state as a whole. Thank you for showing up today and for wanting to make a difference.
Well, good morning. We are the Leadership Development Spoke. I'm Shirlane Quayle, Colleen Potter. Oh my gosh, I just had a brain menopause moment, and Jamie Shaw. We represent, along with our Leadership Development Spoke leaders, which, woohoo, huge shout out. We're from all across the state, Logan to Washington County, and we love that we have that kind of representation because as you hear from today, where does leadership development kick in? We need women in every single space leading to help us solve these challenges, and we need to increase women in those roles. So that is why our Leadership Development Spoke exists. That's our purpose, increase the number of women in leadership roles. We will also add male allies. We can't increase in our state women in leadership without the help and collaboration of our male allies, so we need more male allies too. So thank you for all you that are there, and thanks for helping us grow that number. So why do we need more women in leadership roles? Why does it matter? Research shows that collective intelligence goes up. Why does collective intelligence matter? It impacts every single thing we've heard about today and every single thing that we will continue to learn today. So we have to raise that awareness. We have to get more people into these roles. How do we do this? Well, our Spoke has a few areas that we're focused on. We are focused on leadership identity. Our research shows that many women do not recognize themselves as leaders. We aspire to be leaders, but we do not necessarily recognize ourselves as leaders. That is a huge gap that we have an opportunity to close. So we are working on that, and we're inviting all of you to do that. One of the ways you can do that is by encouraging, Susan mentioned it, the Purpose Callings and Influence training. Please go and take that training. Encourage women and girls that you know to take that training. It is super important. It's really cool. And even if you're an experienced and seasoned leader, take it yourself. Get together with others to do it. The benefits are innumerable. The other thing we can do is to nominate a women leader through the Utah Bold Women Spotlight. So the Leadership Development Spoke has a link to that nomination form on our website. You can go ahead. Are you standing for me? Oh, you can go ahead and look there. And also male allyship, really quick. Please, please nominate a male ally because we need more male allies, as I said. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Heather Nemelka, and I co-lead the Workforce Development Spoke with Bree and also, with Marta and Samantha, and Bree is a wonderful support to our group as well. I wanted to be able to share a little bit about what we're doing and our main focus, and our Thrive statement sums this up perfectly. Our thriving statement says, women thrive when they have confidence and connections to find successful employment that works for them and their families. Our vision is to increase the connection, confidence and competence with Utah women across the state so that they can find employment that fits their lives. Whether a woman is returning after a career break, pivoting into a new role, or just starting out, she deserves a pathway that is accessible and supportive. To move forward with that vision, we are focused on 3 priorities. Number 1, awareness. We will host 6 workshops across the state and we'll start with an event, a kickoff event in October to help women build confidence, competence, and connection. Number 2, employer engagement. We're going to educate 100 Utah companies about the benefits of hiring returners, and this, by the end of 2025, will also increase the pipeline for these companies and increase inclusivity. And number 3, resource expansion. By 2030, we'll double the number of workforce-related resources available to Utah women. We're exploring also a statewide mentorship program so women can feel seen, supported, and also connected, because confidence grows faster when women are doing this together. So connect with us either on LinkedIn if you want to know more about what we're doing, and also connect with us in the Workforce Development Spoke breakout group. We're going to be right over here in this quadrant of this room, and we're excited to build women and elevate them across the state.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Firth, and this is Kristen Wright. Our other spoke leads, Amy Edwards and Sydney Tetro, couldn't be here this morning. We are representing the STEM fields spoke. Utah leads in tech growth, but lags in gender equity. Only 24% of STEM workers in Utah are women, compared to 27% nationally, which still isn't great. In fields such as engineering, technology, and manufacturing, that participation rate is even lower. It's in the teens of percentage. Just 3.4% of employed Utah women work in STEM versus 10.5% of men. Utah girls show strong STEM aptitude, so this isn't a problem of ability, it's a lack of visibility and opportunity, and our state is missing out as a result. The STEM field spoke envisions a Utah where every girl and woman sees her potential, knows her options, and has the support to enter, stay, and lead in high growth, high impact, high earning fields of STEM. This isn't just about fairness, it's about the future. We need women in STEM to drive innovation that reflects us all, build equitable solutions, and unlock the full creative problem-solving power of our communities. To reach this vision, our spoke is working to shift outdated ideas about who belongs in STEM, starting in classrooms, continuing through hiring practices, and extending into leadership. In education, that means earlier exposure to STEM careers, role models, and mentorship, especially in middle school when interest wanes in girls. In industry, it means inclusive workplaces with clear pathways for advancement. In communities, it means bold messaging that shows women thriving in STEM and makes clear women and girls aren't just welcome in STEM, they are needed. This must be a coordinated effort across sectors to remove barriers and expand opportunity. Start a conversation. Ask a girl what she's curious about. Help her see how STEM can be a path to explore it, to solve it, to build something from it. Share stories of women in STEM using social media. We have hashtags at Boulder Way Forward, hashtag BWF STEM and BWF Utah. When girls see what is possible, they begin to believe in themselves, and that belief changes everything. When women thrive in STEM, everyone benefits. Let's build a future where Utah's innovation includes us all. Please join us in the Grand Canyon room in our STEM breakout session.
Hello, everyone. We are K-12. George Washington High in Ogden used to graduate 25% of their students. This year they graduated 87%. There was a student there at the ceremony who said that she didn't feel like she would ever amount to anything in life and that she didn't feel worthy. She used those words. That she didn't feel worthy of accomplishing great things. But that getting that diploma had changed everything for her. And it's those kind of transformative moments that usually often happen in education, that the K-12 Spoke is all about. We want to reduce the gender gap in math. We have the largest gender gap in Utah in 8th grade math in the country. And so we, as a group, launched a social media campaign to show parents and educators everyday things that they can do at home to help prepare their students, their girls and their students, not only for school, but to shape their perceptions of early math. We looked at the data and saw that schools in Washington County, anyone? And Beaver County, their students' elementary math scores are significantly higher than they are in other parts of the state. So we're spotlighting things. What is working? What are the best practices that are making a difference, like those? Looking forward, we see opportunities to change perceptions in attendance. Right now, 24% of Utah students are chronically absent. It's lower than the national average, but that's still 1 in 4. And in some parts of the state, when you look at the data, 45% of students are chronically absent. In Dr. Madsen's research that show attitudes about attendance, the demographic that has the least concern about school attendance, what would you guess? It's the age group that has school-age children. And so we see an opportunity to change those perceptions, to show that every day counts, and we hope you'll help us with that. And if you come to our presentation, we also have a taste. What is it? The Gold Room. We also have the gold, we have a taste of some of the work that we're doing in the K-12 Spoke. We hope you'll see us.
Good morning, everyone. We are with the Higher Education Attainment Spoke. I'm Mallory Santa Cruz, and this is Eric Dolan. Bryn Ramjui is also a co-lead with us, and she's unable to attend today, but she's incredible. With the Higher Education Attainment Spoke, we are tackling persistent educational gaps and outcomes for Utah women. Our purpose and vision is to boldly increase the participation and particularly the completion rates of Utah women at the certificate, associate, bachelor's, and especially the graduate level degrees in Utah. Within our spokes, we have working groups focused on barriers and resources, awareness and communication, and policy. Higher education attainment remains a particularly significant and persistent gap in Utah. Although Utah boasts one of the youngest and fastest growing populations in the nation, women are consistently underrepresented in post-secondary education attainment. They have high levels of entry but low levels of completion. Cultural expectations, financial barriers, caregiving responsibilities, and skepticism about the return on investment continue to drive the disparity. And this gap has real economic consequences. A woman with a bachelor's degree earns more than $20,000 a year on average than those without. But this underrepresentation limits not only individual opportunity, but the state's broader economic potential. According to the Utah System of Higher Education, closing the gender attainment gap could add hundreds of millions of dollars annually to the state economy through increased earnings and productivity. By the year 2030, the Higher Education Attainment Spoke aims to increase the college-going rate of female high school graduates, increase the enrollment of girls and women in technical college and certificate programs, increase female students' ability to pay the cost of attendance by raising FAFSA completion rates, and shift Utahns' perceptions and understanding that in addition to improving economic equality, higher education is also important for intellectual growth, personal development, and lifelong societal contributions. Women and girls thrive when they aspire to and have access to post-secondary education at all levels, regardless of their background or previous life experiences. Our request as a spoke is to join us today and consider leading or co-leading one of our groups, one of our working groups, and then go and begin conversations about the value of post-secondary education with young women in your life, be it your family, in your community, and those around. We will be in the Silver Room at 10:30. We look forward to seeing you.
Good morning. Last but not least, Finance Spoke. With me is Brittany Griffiths and Melanie Jukes. I'm Susan Spears. We've heard from all the other spokes. Is this better? Great, okay. Finance plays an integral part in many of the challenges women face. Think about it. Domestic violence. Why don't they leave the situation? Gender pay gap. Yes, we're making progress, but we have a long ways to go. Higher education and graduation rates, we just heard about that. Home and family issues. Every single one of these spokes plays a role, and finance interweaves between each one of them. The vision of the Finance Spoke is to empower women of all ages to achieve financial security and sustainability. This includes helping Utah women learn how to make informed financial decisions to serve their own life goals and improve fiscal sustainability. We collaborate with individuals and organizations around the state who can provide crucial financial information, develop innovative resources, and offer timely educational opportunities to increase awareness of personal financial awareness and best practices. To do this, we must provide opportunities for women to gain the financial confidence and training they need to make sound financial decisions. Working within organizations such as the Financial Empowerment Coalition that puts the Women in the Money Conference on yearly. In September, the Utah State University Extension Services that provides many financial wellness webinars, or the Finance in the Classroom websites that helps our teachers and parents and students learn about basic financial concepts. These are just a few of the tools that we're using to help women around the state. So how can you be involved? Visit the Boulder Way Forward website and engage in those areas that will help you boost your own physical sustainability and your own financial confidence. Attend the Women in the Money Conference to be held September 11th and 12th at the Sheraton downtown and virtually. We have attendees all up and down the state that attend this. Share what you know and mentor other women. We're all in this together. Women of any age thrive when empowered to achieve financial security and sustainability. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Colleen Anderson. I am the Associate Director with the Utah Women Leadership and Project, and I'm joined here by Kate, my colleague and my friend.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Hunter. I just took a new position at Boulder Way Forward. My job is Partnership Relationship Specialist, which in turn means that if my job is to go out to companies, reach out to them, educate them on our work, and teach them how they can partner with us. There's many different ways to partner. And so I just want to put this plug in. If you guys know someone, if you're here representing a company or you know of a company, I'm the person to get a hold of, and I can point them in the right direction.
Kate has a great story about how she became involved, and will you share?
Yes. So I'm sorry, I am a crier. I'm not going to cry, but I wanted to speak from the heart to you today. A couple of years ago, I was driving at night in my car listening to KSL, and I had grown up here in Utah, but I've lived away for 16 years and came back, and woo, okay, KSL, all right, yes, represent. And I had just had a very disheartening exchange with a man in my neighborhood. And I have lots of friends who were working and expressing, feeling dismissed at work, compounding, just kind of feeling frustrated with Utah. And I was listening to KSL, and all of a sudden they introduced Dr. Susan Madsen, and tears came to my eyes as for the first time what I was feeling was put into words, and I felt hopeful for the first time, feeling like I wasn't alone in how I was feeling, number one, and number two, that there was an organization that I could join to do something about it. Because so many of the things that we experience as women in Utah are very nuanced and they're hard to put your finger on. So after that, I started following Susan online and decided I wanted to get involved.
I think that your message resonates. You're filled with, we are in a room filled with people who wanted to do something to address the problem. So we're here with a really important ask. This is a critical time. We are in a time like no other in many ways. We're looking nationally and even locally at programs that serve women and girls. They're being cut, or funding is disappearing. And so it is a time when we absolutely need your help.
So today, we're going to be bold, and we're going to ask you to pull out your phones and make a donation to A Bolder Way Forward. And I'm going to wait several awkward seconds while you pull out your phones. There's a QR code behind me, I hope, as I reference. And there's one in your packet. And we actually have a goal today. And what is that goal, Colleen?
Our Strategic Advancement Committee believes that we can raise $20,000 today. And if each of you give $25, we can raise $20,000 today.
So on that note, if you don't have $25, if you have $1, anything is appreciated and valued. If you have $100 to donate, that too is appreciated and valued. But I think it's really important to let you know where this money is going to go. As you know, there's 29 counties in Utah. There are 29 county coalitions. There are impact teams and spokes and friends. Where the real work happens is in these local communities all over the state of Utah. Your funding goes directly to helping those volunteers with the resources they need to connect to each other and get real change happening at the county level.
Thank you so much for your donations. They are needed and they are so appreciated. And they help us do more of this. And this is what it's all about.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow, it's time to go, but I have a few more things, just a couple minutes. But thank you. Was that interesting listening to all the spokes? We went pretty quick. Yeah, awesome. I appreciate the spoke leaders and coordinators that you'll meet in your sessions, the county coalition, all of the people involved in the way forward. So here's what we're doing today, okay? You've gone through the long session here and you're still looking alive. You liked my little waves? That helped a little bit for a minute. So we're gonna shift now into, and you have a folder. In your folder, you'll see the agenda. On the back of the folder is a map. So there you go. You'll know where to go. There are 4 sessions in here. One down here, Health Across the Lifespan will be down here. I think domestic violence is in the back. Poverty and homelessness here, and workforce development, and then various others as well. So you'll shift over to that this morning. And then you are going to have a chance. Actually had people ask us, let's do a little more space during lunch so that we can network, so that we can meet, and so we have that space today. But we have impact team circles. And if you'll look on all hands on your map, you'll see there's 1, 2, 3 through 12. So you'll know approximately. We're going to change the chairs and have those circles. There's 3 spots back in that you'll find your lunches. You see that on your schedule. There's 3 things for lunch. So look around. If you see one thing that maybe is not the one you want, look around, you'll find that. So we'll have an hour during lunch to join different impact teams. And so you can join for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you can shift to another one, and then you can have chats and so forth. And then I don't have my schedule, but I'm assuming it's right at 1. Is that true? We're going to go to county. We have 10 county coalitions. The Salt Lake is here. They have the biggest one. And then some of the smaller counties are grouped together. And that's our afternoon session. And then if you stay till the end, you'll get a little more time with me. And that is on a deeper societal change workshop where we'll talk about some various pieces of findings from these books. I will tell you, I said this last time, But this is already and will go down in history. Your work will. I get stories every day from people that said, and in fact, I got like 3 walking in today. Do you know that we found hope, and this is what's happening with my daughter? This is what's happening with, there's hope already, so things are happening. And so I want to end, well, first of all, what did I mention? Oh, your breakout sessions are on the back of your name tags. You already chose those. So sorry to all the spokes that made pitches. We put you in the rooms based on those, so you'll know that. Oh my gosh. Can I just tell you, I hate asking people for money, and I'm trying to get over it as a woman. And I've worked at it for 20 years, and I still hate it. But I have such good people that are saying, we have to ask for money. I'm like, I'm not, you do it. But we're already at 10,000. You know, that... Sorry. My heart, we have to have more money. I have to tell you that to do this work. Wow. Wow. I cry all the time, but no, that's meaningful to me. Now I'm putting this as I end, and I know we're a few minutes, so you're gonna have to jump quick and go. But I'm gonna end with a poem that everybody probably knows, and it's about a yellow wood. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long as I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and we took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference, and that will make all the difference. Thank you. So it's time to move, and let's remember one of those first slides. We're here because we have hope, and we want to lean in, and we want to do the work that needs to be done. Thank you, thank you. Oh, wow.